All right, we are live. We're live from San Diego, and I'm really curious. I think I've seen some beautiful coast over here in California. I'm in San Diego. Beautiful. It's beautiful. When I look at it, I'm like, okay, this land was there, and humans actually found it. Humans who had this drive for exploration left from Europe and found this place. They kept finding the Wild West. They kept finding what's out there. And that's how we landed at California. And it's a beautiful place. Like people were blessed with this land. The plants look different. There are these weird, beautiful plants that are everywhere along the coast. And I'm like, humans didn't invent this. This was already there. And I don't know, maybe this might be in other countries as well, but this is beautiful when you think of California. Like this thing was already there. And humans might have never found it until someone had this drive for exploration and they came here and they were like, no, 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 there's something out there. There's a new world out there that we need to go after, that we need to look into. And they found it. That's crazy. Crazy. Tell me about California. Tell me about California. Still looking on the west coast of the United States, known for its diverse geography, vibrant culture, and significant economic influence. It's the most populous state in the US with around 39 million people and the third largest by land area, stretching from the Pacific Ocean to Sierra Nevada mountains and from the redwood forest in the north to deserts in the south. The state's geography is pretty wild. Think beaches, mountains, and everything in between. You've got places like Yosemite, Yosemite, Yosemite National Park, Death Valley, the lowest point in North America, and a coastline that's over 800 miles long. The weather varies a ton depending on where you are. Foggy and mild in San Francisco, sunny and warm in LA, snowy in the Sierras during winter. Economically, California is a powerhouse. If it were a country, it would have the fifth largest economy in the world, thanks to Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and agriculture. It produces more than half of the nation's fruits, nuts, and vegetables, almonds, grapes, you name it. Tech giants like Apple, Google, and Facebook are based there, and the entertainment industry pumps out movies and music that shape global culture. Wow. Okay. Agriculture, Hollywood, and Silicon Valley. We don't hear much about agriculture. Culturally, it's a melting pot. The gold rush in the 1840s brought people from all over, and that trend never really stopped. Today, it's got a huge mix of ethnicities, about 39% Latino. Wow, 39% Latino, 35% white. Wow, Latino is more than white. 35% white, 15% Asian, and 6% black per recent estimates. Cities like LA and San Francisco are known for the diversity, art scenes, and progressive vibe, through though rural areas lean more conservative. History-wise, California started as indigenous land, then became part of Spain and later Mexico before joining the US. Hmm. California started as an indigenous land, then became part of Spain and later Mexico before joining the US in 1850 after the Mexican-American War. It's had its share of defining moments like the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. I read about the earthquake at the Fairmont Hotel in SF. The rise of Hollywood in the early 20th century and the tech boom in late 20th. Right now, California is still dealing with its unusual mix of headlines. Wildfires, housing costs, and water shortages are perennial issues, balanced by its reputation for innovation and laid-back lifestyle. So many interesting facts about California's nature that is very unique to this state, with quirks and extremes that set it apart. Home to the tallest, oldest, and most massive trees. I think we saw one of them today. California's got a monopoly on extreme trees. The coast Redwoods in places like Redwood National Park are the tallest living things on Earth, with some like 379-foot high Perion towering over 37 stories. And there's the bristlecone pines in the White Mountains. Methuselah, one of the oldest, has been around for over 4,850 years. And don't forget the giant sequoia in Sequoia National Park. The General Sherman tree is the most massive single stem tree by volume, weighing in at about 2.7 million pounds. Death Valley's moving rocks. In Death Valley National Park, there's a spot called Racetrack Playa, where rocks some as heavy as 700 pounds slide across the flat desert floor, leaving trails behind them. For decades, it was a mystery until scientists figured out it's a rare combo of thin ice, wind, and just the right conditions. Nowhere else in the world does this happen quite like it does here. Hmm. Leaving trails behind them. The only state with a Mediterranean climate in the US. California got this rare climate, hot, dry summers and mild, wet winters, shared by only a handful of places globally, like parts of Chile and the Mediterranean basin. It's why you get such unique ecosystems from chaparral shrublands to oak woodlands that support species found almost nowhere else. Joshua trees, weird and exclusive. The Joshua tree, a funky, spiky yucca, grows in the Mojave Desert and is pretty much a California icon, though a tiny bit spills into Nevada and Arizona. It's got a bizarre look, twisted branches like something out of a Dr. Seuss book, and relies on a specific moth to pollinate it, a relationship that's evolved just for this region. Lake Tahoe's crystal clarity. Straddling the California-Nevada line, Lake Tahoe is one of the clearest large lakes in the world, thanks to its pristine water and lack of sediment. You can now see down 70 feet on a good day. It's also the second deepest lake in the US, formed by tectonic faulting, which is unusual for a lake that high up, 6,200 feet above sea level. A living fossil fish, the pupfish in Death Valley's Devil's Hole, is a tiny survivor from the Ice Age found nowhere else. It lives in a single, insanely deep limestone cave with water that's a constant 92 degrees Fahrenheit. Scientists call it one of the rarest fish on the planet, clinging to life in a spot smaller than a basketball court. The Salton Sea, an accidental desert lake. This massive shallow lake in the desert's southwest was created by accident in 1905 when irrigation canals from the Colorado River breached. It's salty, eerie, and a haven for birds, but it's also shrinking fast, exposing toxic dust. It's one of a kind mess of nature and human error. Glass beaches, sea glass bounty. Near Fort Bragg, there's a beach where decades of dumped trash glass bottles mostly got pounded by waves into smooth, colorful sea glass. It's not natural in origin, but the way the ocean reclaimed it is a weirdly beautiful California exclusive. What makes California's coast so special? Raw beauty, ecological diversity, and geological drama, rugged cliffs and sea stacks. The coastline, especially along the central and northern stretches like Big Sur and Mendocino, is defined by steep, jagged cliffs dropping into the ocean. Think Highway 1 winding along vertigo inducing edges. Sea stacks, rocky pillars eroded by waves, dot the shore, like at Macquarie Falls, where a waterfall plunges straight into the Pacific. Dramatic, untamed topography isn't as common on the gentler, flatter coast of the East Shore Gulf. Kelp forests, underwater jungles. Just offshore giant kelp forests thrive in the cold, nutrient-rich waters of the California Current. These towering algae can grow up to 2 feet a day and stretch over 100 feet tall, creating a habitat for sea otters, fish, and urchins. It's one of the most productive marine ecosystems on Earth, and California's coastline has some of the densest kelp beds anywhere. Monterey Bay is a prime example. Tide pools teeming with life. The rocky intertidal zones are packed with biodiversity. Starfish, anemones, crabs, and mussels cling to the rocks exposed at low tide. Places like Fitzgerald Marine Reserve or Point Reyes have some of the richest tide pool scenes in the US, thanks to the mix of cold northern currents and milder southern waters meeting here. Fog is a life giver. The coast's famous fog thing San Francisco call isn't just atmospheric, it's ecological. It rolls in off the Pacific, keeping summers cool and moist, which lets redwoods and other moisture-loving plants thrive right up to the shoreline. This fog-driven microclimate is rare globally and shapes everything from the flora to the vibe. Whale migration superhighway. I'm also seeing a bunch of sea lions. California's coast is a front row seat to one of the world's great migrations. Gray whales pass by twice a year south to Baja in winter, north to the Arctic in spring, sometimes just a mile offshore. Add humpbacks, blues, and orcas feeding in places like the Farallon Islands, and it's a marine mammal hotspot unmatched on most U.S. coast. Geological chaos. The San Andreas Fault runs right along parts of the coast, making it a living lab of tectonic activity. Point Reyes sits on the Pacific Plate, slowly inching northwest past the Northern American Plate. Earthquakes shape the landscape, and you can see the fault's handiwork in cliffs and headlands geology in real time. Beaches of every flavor, from the wide, sandy stretches of Southern California, Santa Monica, Huntington, to the wild pebbly coves up north. The coast has variety. Glass beaches, sea glass, black sands, beaches, volcanic grit, and the glowing bioluminescence at places like Mosquito Bay. At Corks, you won't find anywhere. Sea otter come back. Once nearly extinct, have made a real recovery. We'll spot them floating in kelp beds from Monterey to Morro Bay, cracking clams with rocks. Their presence ties to the ecosystem together, keeping urchins in check so kelp can flourish. Hmm. I'm curious what caused the recovery of sea otters. Ecological luck, legal protection, and human effort. Legal protection kicked off. Early 1900s, sea otters were nearly wiped out, hunted to the brink for the thick fur. With maybe 50 left in California, the International Fur Seal Treaty of 1911 was the first big save, banning commercial hunting of otters across the US, Canada, Russia, and Japan. In the US, the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 72 added muscle, making it illegal to harm or harass them. Without this, they would have they would have been toast. Hidden survivor colony. Turns out a small group of about 50 southern sea otters is a subspecies unique to California, hung on near Big Sur, spotted in 38 off Bixby Creek. Oh, Bixby. Nice. This remnant population, missed by hunters because of the rugged, hard-to-reach coast, became the seed for recovery. They were tough, little survivors, and their isolation gave them a shot to rebound. Natural resilience and habitat. They're scrappy, they breed year-round, and females can have a pup every 1 to 2 years. The California coast kelp forest provided perfect cover and food. Sea urchins, clams, abalone. As hunting stopped, these otters slowly expanded from the Big Sur foothold, spreading north and south along the central coast. Conservation boost. Starting in the 60s, wildlife agencies and groups like the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service got involved. They monitored populations, studied threats, and pushed for cleaner water. Otters are sensitive to pollution. In the 80s, there was even an attempt to relocate some to San Nicolas Island to spread the risk. Though it had mixed results, many swam back or died. Still, the focus on habitat health helped kelp's comeback role. Sea otters and kelp have a tight relationship. Otters eat urchins, which gobble kelp. With otters gone, urchins had boomed, trashing kelp forests. As otter numbers crept up, hitting about 3,000 by the 2000s, kelp started recovering in places like Monterey Bay. Something interesting facts about Baja California. The Mexican state just south of California rather than the broader Baja California Peninsula, which includes Baja California Sur, world's busiest border crossing. The San Isidro Tijuana border between Baja California and California sees over 100 million crossings annually, more than any other land border on the planet. Tijuana's proximity to San Diego makes it a bustling getaway, blending cultures and economies in a way few places do. Wine country rivaling Tuscany. Whoa. The Val de Guadalupe near Ensenada is Mexico's premier wine region, producing 90% of the country's wine. With over 150 wineries, its Mediterranean climate and innovative vintners have earned it comparisons to Napa Valley, but with a rugged, less polished charm. Think dusty roads and tacos alongside your Cabernet. A desert that's not just sand. The San Felipe Desert in eastern Baja California is part of the Sonoran Desert, but it's got a twist. Massive sand dunes that look like they belong in the Sahara, some reaching 300 feet high. Off-roaders flock here for the Baja 1000, a legendary race that's been tearing through this wild terrain since 67. Prehistoric art gallery. The Sierra de San Francisco hides over 500 rock art sites, some dating back 7,500 years. These vivid paintings, giant humans, deer, and whales in red and blacks, were left by the Cochimi people and are so well preserved they are UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's like stepping into a time capsule. Hmm. Prehistoric art gallery. Wow. Whale shark hangout. The Bay of La Paz might be in Baja California Sur, but Bahia de Los Angeles in Baja California is a prime spot for swimming with whale sharks, the world's largest fish. These gentle giants gather here in summer, drawn by plankton-rich waters, offering a rare up-close encounter. Tijuana's Caesar salad origin. The Caesar salad was born in Tijuana in 24, invented by Italian immigrant Caesar Cardini at his restaurant during Prohibition. Americans crossed the border for booze and stumbled into culinary history. Romaine croutons and that tangy dressing all started here, a marshy landscape. The Catavenia region's boulder-strewn desert dotted with cereals that twist like upside-down carrots. Whoa, looks otherworldly. These plants unique to the Baja Peninsula can live over 300 years and give the area surreal sci-fi feel. NASA even studied as a Mars analog. Fish taco capital claims the fish taco as its own, with Ensenada often credited as its birthplace. Battered fried fish in a tortilla with cabbage and crema. It's a street food icon that's spread worldwide, but locals argue no one does it better than the roadside stands here. It's true. I've had some fish tacos. I would love to go to Baja California and try it, but I've tried like fish tacos are great, and some people do it amazing. Island of the Dead, Isla de Todos Santos of Ensenada isn't just a surf mecca with killer waves. It's also tied to eerie lore, named All Saints Island. It was once a burial site for mariners, and its isolation adds a haunting edge to its rugged beauty. Tectonic wanderer, sits on the Pacific Plate, inching northwest away from mainland Mexico at about 2 inches a year. Wow. It was part of North American plate. Geologically, it's a renegade still drifting toward its own destiny. So many interesting facts. Interesting facts and effects caused due to Tijuana's proximity to San Diego. Just a few months apart, separated by the US, creates a unique dynamic that shapes both cities in fascinating and tangible ways. So I was in an Uber, and the Uber driver was Mexican, and she was like, "Yeah, like I pretty much go all the time to Mexico because it's literally like 20 minutes on the other side," and that's so interesting. It's like, yeah, that's crazy. It's like you have a you and I think a lot of people they drive down from Mexico to US just for work. Daily routine. That's a daily routine. Traveling across countries. That's crazy. It's crazy. World's busiest border. The San Isidro Tijuana crossing is the busiest land border globally with over 100 million crossings yearly, about 38,000 people daily. That's commuters, tourists, and goods flowing between the two in a constant pulse. 100 million crossings yearly. That's a lot. Caesar salad's border birth. Tijuana's proximity to San Diego sparked a culinary legend. In 24, Caesar Cardini invented the Caesar salad in Tijuana to cater to Americans hopping over during Prohibition for legal booze. San Diego diners brought it back and spread it from there. Sister cities, literally. And Tijuana. Tijuana and San Diego are so intertwined they have been dubbed Twin Cities or the San Tijuana Metroplex. Together they form a binational region with a combined population of about 5 million, sharing everything from watersheds to air quality. Language mashup. Spanglish thrives here. You will hear parquear to park or troca in casual chatter on both sides, a linguistic bleed from Tijuana's Spanish into San Diego's English, fueled by daily cross-border interactions. Tijuana's Hollywood cameo. In the 20s and 30s, San Diego's elite and Hollywood stars like Charlie Chaplin and Rita Hayworth flocked to Tijuana's casinos and racetracks. Just a quick jaunt south. The Agua Caliente resort became a glamorous escape, cementing Tijuana's rep as San Diego's wild sibling. Effects, economics, and biases. Tijuana's maquiladoras factories churn out goods, electronics, auto parts for US companies, many based in San Diego. Meanwhile, San Diegans cross out for cheaper healthcare, dental work, and meds. Think $20 visits versus hundreds in the US. It's a two-way street. San Diego's GDP gets a boost, and Tijuana's economy leans on cross-border shoppers. Cultural fusion. Food, music, and art bounce back and forth. San Diego's fish taco obsession traces straight to Tijuana's street stands. Events like the Tijuana Cultural Center's art exhibits draw San Diego visitors, while San Diego's craft beer scene inspires Tijuana's growing brewery culture. Think Baja's Telefonica Gastropark. Traffic infrastructure strain, the border bottleneck clogs both sides. San Diego's I-5 and Tijuana's highways choke during rush hours, with wait times sometimes hitting 2 to 3 hours. This support projects like the Cross-Border Express, a pedestrian bridge linking Tijuana's airport to San Diego, easing some pressure since 2015. Crime and security ripple. The drug cartel violence, over 2,000 homicides in 23, spills concern into San Diego, though the US city stays was safer, about 100 homicides yearly. US border patrols and walls beefed up since the 90s reflect this tension reshaping both cities' edges. Environmental tug of war, the Tijuana River flowing from Mexico into San Diego. carries sewage and trash, over 35 million gallons of untreated wastewater spilled in 23 alone, polluting Imperial Beach. Proximity forces jointly have efforts, but it's a messy ongoing fight over shared resources. Commuter lifestyle. Thousands live in Tijuana and work in San Diego, drawn by lower housing costs. A Tijuana apartment might be $500 per month versus 2000 San Diego. The daily migration shapes a binational workforce, with US wages fueling Tijuana's growth. Tourism boosts and stereotypes. San Diego day trippers hit Tijuana for cheap eats, nightlife, and markets. About 40 million cross south yearly, but the proximity also feeds outdated gringo views of Tijuana as just a party spot, overshadowing its modern tech hubs and art scene. What? Tijuana has a art scene. Less than 20 miles downtown to downtown. Tell me about Tijuana's emergence as a tech hub is a fascinating evolution driven by its proximity to San Diego's skilled workforce and a strategic push to diversify beyond its manufacturing roots. BID Center, Baja Innovation Technology Center, launched 2011. It's a co-working and innovation space hosting over 65 companies from startups to solo entrepreneurs located in the Zona Rio Business District. It's a magnet for software developers and tech grads from local universities like Tijuana Institute of Technology, fostering collaboration, offering mentorship, and connecting local talent with US firms. Mind Hub, Made in Mexico Innovation Design Hub, newer player emphasizing tech startups and creative industries, provides resources like office space, workshops, networking for entrepreneurs. Station, proximity to San Diego, 20-minute drive to San Diego links Tijuana to a 230 billion binational, right? San Diego has Qualcomm, which is kind of like the base layer of all the tech binational economy comparable to Ireland's GDP. US companies like Thermo Fisher Scientific would set up a Tijuana HQ, use it as a nearshore base for cost savings while keeping R&D close in California. Talent pool. Universities pump out thousands of STEM grads yearly. Engineering degrees tripled in popularity from 2008 to 2012 across Mexico. Local wages for skilled tech workers around 15.25 per hour, a fraction of Silicon Valley's drawing firms seeking quality at lower cost. Manufacturing legacy. Decades as a manufacturing hub, think TVs and semiconductors, gave Tijuana infrastructure and a workforce adaptable to tech. Companies like Busca Corp, digital media, and 3D robotics built on this foundation, shifting towards software and innovation. Groups like Tijuana, EDC, and Frontera founders work to connect entrepreneurs across the border. Financial push. Events like Reset has brought in heavyweights from Amazon, NASA, and MIT, boosting visibility. Massive entrepreneurial summit. Standout features. Tech hubs lean into software development, IT outsourcing, and life sciences. Medical exports are $2 billion. While no unicorn has emerged, small success like Busca Corp's entertainment platforms or 3DR's early drove early drone ventures hint at potential. The scene's still young, needing a breakout hit to open the floodgates. Office space is dirt cheap. Busca or pays $600 per month for a large Tijuana office versus thousands in San Diego. Living costs are low too, attracting talents and firms alike. Perception lag, turnover and competition, 60% in some sectors. Okay. Old rep as a party town or cartel hotspot lingers, slowing investment despite a growing middle class and safer downtown. Zona Centro's revival, infrastructure gap, the vibe today. This was a quick stream, but